All right, you guys, I was just taught something kind of amusing that's actually happening. It wasn't intentional on my part. I don't know if it was intentional on God's part or not, but it's kind of amusing. All right. If you look at the word Christ, all right, you got like the word Chris with a T on the end, and a T is a cross. All right. So you get Chris and the cross. But if you crush it, Christ becomes CRS with a T, which means curse, like CRS is curse, and then the cross. So the curse is the cross. So Jesus Christ is Jesus, the curse, and the cross. Yeah? If you capitalize Christ all the way, then the T on the end is no longer a cross, it's a hammer. All right? The symbol is a hammer. And so Christ becomes Chris with the hammer. And that's what happened a long fucking time ago when this first started. When I first started waking up, is it was like being given knowledge of good and evil and being told to pass it on to humanity. And what the idea was is that if you're worthy, pick up the hammer. And you know how Thor reaches out and just draws the hammer into his hand? You know? It's like if you're worthy, then you wield the hammer. And that's what was basically happening, like testing my character if I'm a good person or not, and then giving me the hammer, which is knowledge of good and evil, and then judging humanity with it. You know, to basically say, like, here's what true good is. Judge these people. Do they look good to you? And the answer was no. So I started slamming down the fucking hammer and driving in the nails into Jesus' cross. So it's like Jesus was telling people to take up, or Christians are told to take up the cross, which basically means like you stop, and rather than ascending and becoming better and better and better, you're nailed to a cross and you stop ascending. You're immobilized. All right, and then the hammer starts driving the nails in so that you're permanently immobilized, and then you're like fallen, and the cross comes down, and you go into the pit, which is like the grave or the bottomless pit, where you become worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's like there's some sort of like ritual thing going on that I've been made a part of without even realizing it, which is basically like spiritually crucify humanity. Like pretty much everyone on the planet, the vast majority of people, spiritually crucified. Yeah, Jesus provides the cross, which is to immobilize people and prevent them, guide them into being immoral, but not knowingly immoral, because they have no idea what good and bad or right and wrong is. So they're not knowingly and willingly being bad, but they're still being bad. So they're not ascending. Yeah, they're just like spiritually immobilized on the cross from Jesus teaching immorality as goodness. So they had no idea what's going on. You know, and they're basically immobilized and prevented from making progress on Jesus's cross. And then I come around, they give me a knowledge of good and evil, and they're like, here, judge humanity. Drive in the nails or set them free. Because, you know, like a hammer has like a thing to pull out nails or hammer them in. Yeah? So it's like you give knowledge of good and evil, and you keep hammering and throwing the hammer, and basically with knowledge of good and evil, giving more and more and more. And some people get hammered in, and some people get their nails pulled out, and they start becoming good, and they ascend again, and they become a good person. Yeah? But it seems to be like there's actually some sort of like demented ancient crucifixion ritual on this planet to judge the human race and determine if they really are, if they have a moral compass in them, or if they're just rotten to the fucking core. And the vast majority of them seem to be rotten to the core. Yeah? So anyway, there's some thoughts for you that I was just taught, and have a good day.